So yeah, there's some really crazy stuff going on here. You can see that on the first loop, we have a lower score on the S21, a higher score on the Pixel 6 Pro, but all the way at the end, they end up around the same 900 mark. And then there's the iPhone. Also notice how the iPhone and the S21 Ultra, their performance remains consistent, but Pixel's performance actually degrades downwards if you look at the graph. It looks like under heavy load, Pixel actually gets hotter, 43, 41. Let's dive in and look at all the details, guys, and see what's going on here. Hey guys, Sak here from SAKITECH, and in today's video what we're going to do is we are going to be running some benchmarks on these three phones. So we have the iPhone 13 Pro Max, we have the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, and we have the Google Pixel 6 Pro. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to be running some gaming and computing benchmarks. The first one is going to be a light gaming benchmark. The second one is going to be the standard Geekbench benchmark. And the final one is going to be a highly stressful graphical benchmark. And then we'll see which one of these phones performs the best. And again, the third test I'm going to be running is designed to show how a device performs under heavy load, which means it's going to be mimicking mobile games. So let's dive in and get started right away. So let me launch the benchmarking tool. It is known as the 3D Mark tool, okay? And I'll let you know, I just a couple minutes ago restarted all these phones. So they're peak condition right now. Now the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra has a couple things you have to do to make sure it does run at peak performance because it is highly customizable. So I did go to settings. I went into my battery and device care. I went into my battery and I made sure that the processing speed is set to maximum. All right. And you can also see under device care, right now we do not have any issues. So we have a smiley face. That's good. I can tap this one more time just to be safe. So the phone is fully optimized for the best performance. Now I'm going to close this up. I'm going to close all the background tasks here. Okay. So the only thing we have is the 3D Mark. And here's what I'm going to do first. First, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to run the regular benchmarking tool. We are going to be getting a number, okay? Now, this one here, if you read this, it says 3D Mark Wildlife is a cross-platform benchmark for comparing the graphics performance of the latest mobile devices. It is a 1-minute test. It measures the device's ability to provide high levels of performance for short periods of time. And the rendering resolution for this benchmark is 2560 by 1440. So let's start on all of these phones. Tap, tap, tap. And here's a different angle. Let me also remove this charger. Okay. The phone was a little low in charge, so I put that on, but now we don't need it. And this is going to be a slightly different angle. You can look at it this way, just so you can see what's happening in the background. You can see we have some really high level activities going in the background. So let's wait for this test to complete and see what kind of numbers we get. I'll let you watch a little bit of this. It's a nice eye candy, but I'm going to fast forward after a couple seconds here so you can see the end results. Alright, so all the numbers are here. Let's quickly fix the orientation. So we have a bunch of expected and unexpected results. So first and foremost, the iPhone has got the highest score, 9,734. Then we have the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, 5,440. But the Google Pixel with the new Tensor chip and whatever graphics that they have in there gives us a score 6,487. And we do have one more thing right over here. We have something known as the performance monitoring, all right? So the battery went from 59 to 49 during the stress test. And the frame rate was between 45 to 61. Now with this one here, performance monitoring, The battery life went from 41 to 40, which is actually better than this guy. And the frame rate was between 22 and 41, lower than this guy. With the Pixel, if I go all the way down, you can see now we have the battery stayed at 70% during the whole thing. But the frame rate was between 28 and 56, higher than this, lower than this. Now, one thing that these two are able to show is the temperature. You can see the Pixel operates at a lower temperature, and this one went up a little bit higher. This is still a safe temperature, but it did went higher. So looks like there's something happening in here that is able to keep the temperature low as the performance peaks. And unfortunately, the iPhone does not have a temperature reading anywhere. So that's that. Now, next up, I'm going to be actually running Geekbench score just to set a regular benchmark, see how the computing power is on these phones. But after that is the big thing. That is going to be the wildlife stress test. Now, the stress test, the whole point of the stress test, to really stress the device. So it's going to be a 20-minute test. Of course, we're going to fast forward it, but the main point is going to be, this test is going to show how a device performs under longer periods of heavy load. So this is going to be mimicking mobile games that are actually based on longer, more immersive experiences. So that's going to be fantastic. We'll see how they perform. Let's do the Geekbench before we do that. So first, I'm going to kill everything in the background. All right, kill. Boom. Okay, now we're going to do the Geekbench. Geekbench. Let's go to Geekbench right here. And we are going to go to Geekbench right here. All right. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on run, and CPU, run. That's it. And let's quickly fast forward this and see the results at the end. All right, so here we have the numbers. So the iPhone, it's got the lead. Okay, it's the fastest one here when it comes to just raw processing. Samsung Galaxy S21 and Pixel are in fact very close to each other. Now I will let you know, in the past I've gotten over 1,000 here and just a slightly over 3,000 here. So I know this one is faster, but still it is pretty close. In this instance, we have 1,042, 2834 for multi-core score, and then here we have 2983 for multi-core, 997 for single core, and here it's just on a whole other level. We do know that the iPhone processors are always faster. But just to show you guys, here's an example of something I ran a little while ago. I haven't run a test on these for a while, but you can see that we can get scores as high as these. So when it comes to computing, it's this, and then this. Now let's go back and do the crazy stress test for the graphical performance and see the temperature and all that stuff. So I'm going to go to 3D Mark, and we're going to go to the Wildlife Extreme Stress Test. I'm going to go over here. That's 3D. All right. And we are going to go here, 3D. Let's go to Extreme. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start them all. Boom, boom, boom. All right. And what's basically going to happen is you'll notice that this is going to be the same test that we saw the first time, mixed and matched, but it's going to be running in a loop of 20. So it's going to continue to run over and over and over, putting all kinds of stress on the device at maximum possible resolution. We'll see what the results are. We'll be right back. I'm going to fast forward this stuff to the end. All right, guys, so here we have it. So first and foremost, the best score, 3,173. The best score, 1,476. The best score, 1,916. Looks like the Pixel does have more graphical performance. Now, let's look at the details because they're very interesting. So, I told you guys that this last test ran in a loop of 20. So you can see the first loop, we have 3,000 here. The first loop, 1,400. The first loop, 1,900. But as the loops play over and over, the system's performance starts to degrade because the temperature goes up, there's some throttling and some management in the background. So you can look at these scores as the loops run, the scores go down and down and down. So for example, on loop 15, we are at 1,000. On this one at loop 15, we are at 908. On this one at loop 15, we are at 2,300. At all the way at the end, this ends at 2,246, 900, 925. So almost the same at the end. This guy right here is a beast. The final score is higher than the first score on both of these guys. Astounding. Also notice how the iPhone and the S21 Ultra, their performance remains consistent, but Pixel's performance actually degrades downwards if you look at the graph. Now one more thing, if you go to performance range, you can see we have a graph here showcasing the performance range, but I'm interested in the performance monitoring. So first and foremost, the battery life went from 48% to 39%. That's a loss of 9% battery. We have a loss of 8% battery here, and we have a loss of 10% battery here. So the S21 was the best at battery draining during the stress test. The other thing I'm going to take a look at is the temperature of this guy between 35 and 41. This one, 32 and 43. So this one actually got hotter than the S21 Ultra. Now with this one, unfortunately, we don't get to see the temperature for some reason. iPhone, Apple limits that. But those are the results, and they're really crazy, especially because the iPhone is just, when it comes to performance, it's just ahead of the game. With these two guys, the processing speed is faster on this one, the graphical performance is better on this one. But then during the whole thing, we get the lowest loss of battery life on the S21 Ultra. And also, the temperature on this one goes to the highest. So it looks like the temperature management on this one is going to be better under heavy load. Under short bursts of load, from the first example, we saw that the temperature on this one went up more than this guy. But under heavy load, long time, this is better managed, okay? This, we can't see it. But that's basically what I want to show you guys in this video. I want to go into some benchmarking details. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop them down below. Let me know. For now, guys, have a fantastic day, all right?